Every human being who has ever lived needed shelter. What changed over 300,000 years wasn't that need. It was everything else. The first shelters weren't built at all. They were found. A cave, a rock ledge, a natural overhang. Protection without a single tool, a single decision, or a single cut of stone. By 6000 BCE, humans were mixing clay with straw and animal dung to coat their walls. Wattle and daub. It sounds crude, but this technique is still in active use in over 50 countries today. The materials cost nothing, the method works, and it has outlasted 10,000 years of architectural fashion. The invention of the city changed housing forever. Ancient Ur in modern Iraq housed an estimated 65,000 people. That required streets, drainage, property boundaries, and for the first time in recorded history, rent. The Sumerians didn't just build houses, they invented the bureaucracy that came with them. Rome perfected urban housing at industrial scale. The insula, a multi-story apartment block, existed in over 46,000 versions across the city. Upper floors were cheap, dangerous, and packed. Ground floors were expensive and comfortable. The Romans invented the property market, the noise complaint, and the difficult neighbor, all at the same time. The medieval period produced two extremes of shelter. At one end, a peasant hut shared with livestock, a floor of packed earth, a life expectancy of 35 years. At the other, castle walls 9 meters thick, designed not for comfort, but for survival. Both were answers to the same question: how do you stay safe? Swedish and Finnish settlers arriving in America in the 1600s brought something the continent had never seen: the dovetail log joint. It required no nails, no mortar, and no specialized tools. The log cabin spread across an entire continent in under 2 centuries. One technique, one immigrant tradition, an entire architectural culture. The Victorian city was a city of extremes. Ornate mansions with more rooms than any family could use, built a few streets away from terraced houses, where entire families shared a single room. The bay window, the decorative cornice, the wrought iron fence, all signals in a society obsessed with knowing exactly where you stood. The 20th century opened with a radical idea: that architecture should serve people, not impress them. The Bauhaus School united fine art and industrial production under one roof. Form follows function. It sounds obvious now. In 1926, it was a provocation. Nearly every building you walk past today carries its influence, whether it knows it or not. The post-war decades produced the most standardized housing in human history. Levittown built 17,000 identical homes in 4 years. The ranch house, the split level, the picture window facing the street, an entire aesthetic built around the car, the lawn, and the assumption that space was unlimited. It was a dream that eventually ran out of land. By the 1970s, a counter-movement had taken hold. Earthships built from old tires and rammed earth. Geodesic domes, homes buried in hillsides. These weren't experiments. They were rejections of energy dependence, of mass production, of the idea that a house had to look like every other house on the street. Many of their ideas are now mainstream. The minimalist house, the green roof, the passive house, all products of the same late 20th century realization that buildings consume energy on a planetary scale, that construction waste is a crisis, that a house which costs almost nothing to heat is not a luxury. It is the only logical direction. Efficiency stopped being a choice and became a necessity. The 21st century brought housing to a breaking point. Urban land became unaffordable. The tiny house movement offered 18 square meters and a different definition of enough. The container house offered a $2,000 shell that could last 50 years. Architecture began asking a question it had avoided for a century. How little space does a human actually need? Three-dimensional printing can now produce a concrete house in 24 hours for under $10,000. Floating cities are being designed for the open ocean. Mycelium, fungal root networks, can be grown into structural walls in 5 days. The materials of the future aren't metals or polymers. They are organisms, living, growing, and self-repairing. Beyond 2050, shelter becomes a question of philosophy as much as engineering. Habitats on the ocean floor, pressurized domes on Mars, rotating cylinders in orbit housing 10 million people under artificial gravity. Each one is an answer to a question that began with a human being looking for somewhere dry to sleep 300,000 years ago.